your face. It's really cool when I get to see your faces. And I'm not the only one who's here. I know that some of you have little ones and are doing some other things, and that's cool too. But if you want to be seen, I would love to see your face. It's definitely not a requirement. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping things. There is a chat room at the bottom of the screen, and if you want to chat, or if you know someone in the group, or you just want to chat back and forth or chat your questions in, go ahead and do that. And periodically, we'll just keep checking on it, or keep working with it and try to stay up with it. I don't think there are going to be that many of us on right now, but if you have questions or have resources or comments or want to talk to each other, use the chat to do that. The other thing is there was a little confusion, and I've got to go back through my registration sequence to fix it for the next time. But there was a little confusion about the payment link and how to pay and all of that. And it is a pay what you want class, and and I had some guidelines. We put some guidelines in about what that's about. And for some reason, some of you were telling me that you were having trouble getting to the link to pay. So it is a PayPal Me link. And I know that if you're out of the US or in a country like Turkey, you may be having problems with that. And if that's the case, then if you want to just contact me by email, we'll figure out another way for exchange or to get payment through. But I'm putting the link for the payment in the chat, and it will be in the chat log as well. So that's what you do. You just send however much you want to the PayPal Me link, and that's pretty much it. Just put in their love. I think I know everybody now who's already signed up, but if you put in love, then I know that it's for this class for sure. And also there's a note-taking guide. So let me make sure you get that. And of course, when you get the recording, you will get a copy of the note-taking guide as well for those who aren't on the recording. So let me find that and load that up into the chat as well. I'm looking for the folder. There it is. Okay. And basically, if you want to download it, you can look at it, and there's a place to take notes. It's pretty much the slides that we have today. And you can print it out at a later date when you get the recording. And if you like to follow along and take notes, it's there for you. Let's see, is there anything else I need to tell you? Oh, when you get your recording, Bings and I we were talking about how some of you were saying that you might want some deeper work or need some deeper work. So you will also get a notice about a little introductory special package that we're putting together, and we haven't finalized that, so just look for that in your email when you get all the recordings and everything. Okay, so I think that's it. Yes, welcome Regina, glad you're here, and welcome everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with the slides and officially welcome you to a reset in self-love. And today we are going to be exploring through the lens of human design and through some distance healing that Bings is going to do, the process of how you can begin to realign to a greater level of self-love, to a greater level of love for yourself. So my intentions for this class, and our intentions actually for this class, are to activate you to a deeper sense of self-love through awareness and healing. So I'm doing kind of the awareness part, the activation of your awareness by introducing you to some information about human design, and in particular, the energy center that's known as the G Center. So I'm focusing on the purpose and the themes of the G Center so that you can begin to kind of raise your awareness and tap into some of the things that are bubbling up around your own issues, what's coming up for healing in the arena of loving and accepting yourself more deeply. And then Bings is going to come in and help you with the support of energy to shift and realign that energy of love through her process for distant healing. So I'm really excited that we're doing this together. And as we move forward, I want to invite all of you to not get really caught up in what does this mean on the chart? What do these details mean? Because when I was doing my own meditation and reflection and asking my inner guidance about what was needed and required for the people on this call, what I got is that I need to make sure or set the energy and prepare you to be open for the healing that you need. So the information that you're getting is not going to, you're not going to be tested on it. You're not, there's no quiz at the end or anything like that. So just let it kind of come through you. And if it helps you right now, just take a few deep breaths. And as we move through these, this information about human design, if you're new to it, don't get caught up in it. Just let it sort of wash over you so that you get what you need right now, because you can always go back to the recording and get more. You can even go back to the recording and get more healing through the modality that Bings is going to use to support you with your healing. So don't think that you have to take it all in now. Don't think that you have to understand it all now. Don't think that you have to heal everything tonight, because this is a process. And if you've been in your human design experiment for any amount of time, on your human design journey for any amount of time, you probably know by now that this whole process of realigning to being more of your authentic self and being more empowered as who you are is going to take time. And in human design, we say it takes 7 years to let go of all of the conditioning, the wounding, and the old frequencies that you have probably previously been living, so that you can become more of your vibrant and best version of you, who you really are. So everyone, just take a deep breath and just let it all out. And if you don't walk away with anything else from this time that we have together tonight, walk away with these 2 points. Number 1, you are inherently loved because you exist. You are inherently loved. You are lovable, you are deserving of love, and you have all the love that you need within you to fully experience the love that really ultimately nourishes your being. So that's point number 1. You don't have to look for love. You don't have to grasp at love. You don't have to diminish yourself or contort yourself to get love, because you are love. Number 2, oh, that says number 1. Well, the second number 1 is that just remember that the feeling of love is an interpretation of energy that's being filtered through the G Center. And in a moment, I'll show you where the G Center is on the human design chart. So if you have your chart, you can refer to yours if you want to. And if not, you can go back and look at it. But the point here is that this thing that we crave or want, or you know, really feel that we need to have, is actually just an interpretation of energy. And when you separate out the meanings that your mind gives to love, or to what you're feeling in terms of that energy, it becomes this neutral thing that that you can begin to relate to in different ways. So just take that in, let that circulate, and as we go through a deeper understanding of the G center, I think you'll get a better grasp, or a bigger grasp of what I mean by it being an love being an interpretation of energy. So the crux of what I'm doing tonight is to introduce you to the G center. So without further ado, let me see if I can get my marker down here, and I need a color that's not on the chart, so we'll go with turquoise tonight. Okay, this is the G center. It's this diamond that if you were to correlate the body graph to your anatomical body, it's basically in the center of your chest. So in the Hindu chakra system, which these energy centers are derived from, this would be akin to your heart chakra. So there are two ways that the G center can show up. It can either show up as undefined, which is when it's white. So on the left here is an undefined G center. On the right is a defined G center. And we'll get more into what that means, and what that means in terms of your chart, and processing the energy of love through the G center. But just if you have your chart, just identify whether or not you have a defined G center, whether it's colored in and it's defined, or whether it's white and it's open or undefined. Okay, I think I have to clear the drawings and then move on. Trying to get out of this so I can switch the, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Not sure what this is down in the bottom here, but anyway. Okay, so there's the G center in the center of the chest, and let's talk a little bit about the nature of the G center. The G center, that diamond that represents a G center on your body graph, is home to the magnetic monopole. And if you think of a magnet having a positive charge and a negative charge, a typical magnet, you can then understand that the magnetic monopole is actually a magnet that only has one charge. So it's a magnetic force that attracts you, or attracts things to you, people, opportunities, or you to people and opportunities that you're meant to meet and experience in this lifetime. So if you're not familiar with the quality of the G center of the magnetic monopole, you can do some reading at the Institute of HeartMath, heartmath.org, where they've done some research around the magnetic quality of the heart. And this is not human design. HeartMath has nothing to do with human design. It's kind of like, or the system of human design. It's kind of like how we're just built, which is, related to, they're looking at it from a scientific aspect, and we're looking at it on the body graph from an esoteric aspect. But there is science that backs up this transmission that the founder of human design got, Ra Uru Hu, that this G center is part of the it does have a magnetic resonance that is attractive to life, to things that to our direction and to love in our life. And I just saw something come in here. So Bings, if you don't mind checking that, if it's something important, just chime in on the chat. Okay, so the nature of the G center, as we mentioned before, the G center filters this energy of love. It's the center for identity, love, and direction. And these centers, all of the energy centers, are actually filters, you know, of how we deal with the energy that we're designed to function from. So the function of the G center is to lay out our experience, to lay out our direction, and to filter that energy or that understanding of that feeling of love that we all experience. It's also part of what we perceive as our identity. Now, the only difference between a defined G center and an undefined a defined G center and an undefined G center is that the experience is slightly different. The experience of your identity, the experience of love, and the experience of direction is different. But everyone has every part of the chart. It's just that if you're undefined, whether it's in the G center or another center or a channel or a gate, it's a place where you have a variable experience, where your experience of, in this case, the G center, of identity, love, and direction varies. But it doesn't mean that you don't have love, or you can't have love. It doesn't mean that you don't have an identity, and it doesn't mean that you don't have a direction. It just means that sometimes those energies that you filter, that you would perceive as your identity, as love, or as direction, change. And that's just how you are. You're designed to have a multitude of different experiences and to try on those energies and become wise about them in many, many different ways. If you're if you're defined, you have a fixed experience of the energies of identity, love, and direction. So your trajectory through life, your path through life, is less varied. It's you show up as who you are, and your sense of love sort of radiates out from you. So sometimes we say that the people who have the undefined G center are here to receive love, and the people who have the defined G center are here to radiate that love. So active is another way to put to look at the defined G center. Active, out there, I don't know, some other words maybe. And then the undefined G center could be considered more receptive. So don't think that if you're undefined that you're not worthy of love, or that there's something wrong with you if love comes and love goes, because that's very natural. That's a very natural experience for that energy to come and go. Now, in human design, we talk about passenger consciousness, and this is where the G center really comes into play, because the passenger, as when we're first forming in the womb, we have the design crystal, which would be the ajna, and this is divorced, or I took it out of the human design chart, so you may not know where it goes, but this is like the center, that the green here is a center that's second from the top, and that would be your ajna. Your ajna is responsible for the formation of your physical form. And when you are first conceived, the design crystal, which ultimately ends up in the ajna enters the body with the G the magnetic monopole. So they enter as like one crystal, and then at a certain point they separate so that there's so that the magnetic monopole goes into the G center, and the design crystal goes in the ajna, and the design crystal wires up the body, and the G center sets the direction for the life of the human that's forming. The passenger comes in at the time of birth. So when we talk about passenger consciousness, we're talking about this aspect of us that is imprinted on us at the time of our birth, and is our higher mind, our mind in general, that sets out the like what our soul's desires are. So the passenger is designed to ride in this vehicle, that's our body, with the driver that's part of the magnetic monopole, that's housed in the G center. So when you begin to enter into your human design experiment, you're entering into learning more about how you can sit back and enjoy the ride, get the big picture, and let the driver, the magnetics of your heart, move your vehicle, your body, through its life. And when you do that, there's a lot less resistance in your life. You minimize suffering. You get to go where you were destined to go, and you get to meet the people that you need to meet in order to fulfill your purpose. But imagine if the passenger was like tapping the driver on the shoulder. And in this example, this is actually Elizabeth I and her husband. So, this is a picture to illustrate how you can really have things taken care of for you. Like royalty really has things taken care of, they're taken care of, and the vehicle is taken care of before they get out on the road. They don't have to worry about anything. They just get in and they drive. But imagine if Queen Elizabeth was sitting back there with the map going, well, I don't think we should go this way, driver, let's go that way. You're on the wrong side of the road. Watch out, you're going too fast, and trying to backseat drive. It really wouldn't go very well for her, because her driver would be distracted. So as a human with this higher consciousness that's housed in your head center, with a body that's your vehicle, and with the driver that's part of your magnetic monopole, you are designed to sit back and just enjoy the ride, so that you get the full experience of your life. And the way that you put the driver in charge, so that you're not backseat driving, you're not micromanaging the driver, and the passenger can look out the window and see what's going by, is it that you work with your strategy. You follow your strategy, and you listen to your authority, your decision-making authority. So your strategy, most of you are probably familiar with strategy and authority, but this is just a quick overview. And if you're not familiar, there's plenty of human design information about your strategy. You just need to know what your human design type is. And it will have, if you have it you'll probably have it on your chart as to what your strategy and your authority are. And that will be a good starting place for you. So your strategy is basically the guidelines on how to meet life with the least amount of resistance. And just as a quick review for anyone who needs a review, if you're a generator type, your strategy is to wait to respond. And then you use your sacral motor, the sacral response, to guide you. And depending on what your decision-making authority is, you may need to take your time and get that sacral motor, get a response from your sacral motor over time to get clarity, or you may know in the moment. Your sacral may speak in the moment. If you're a projector, your strategy is to wait for invitations. And that's invitations for those big things in life that require a lot of energy and a lot of support, like a big relationship, like entering into a marriage, entering into a big business contract, a big geographical move, something that is a big life change needs an invitation. So while you're waiting, you're cultivating your own sense of self-love, a deeper sense of self-love, and you're preparing for those invitations by cultivating mastery. If you're a manifester, you don't have a strategy to wait because you're the only people who can initiate action, and you need to be mindful of informing the people that will be impacted by your actions before you take those actions. And again, with authority, your actions are governed by, sometimes you need to get emotionally clear if you have an emotional authority, or you may know in the moment. So that's how you know when to inform or what the right action is as a manifester. If you're a reflector, you are attuned to the moon cycles, so you need to wait about 28 days to get very clear, because you need to feel yourself, feel your energy and how it shifts through a whole moon cycle to get clarity on what's the best next step for you. So that's just a quick overview. You can use this slide as just a reference for strategy and authority, but this is the foundation of how to stay out of the front seat, how to quit antagonizing the driver of your vehicle, and how to really enjoy the ride of your life. Now, if you notice, everyone, or just about everyone on the planet, except for the 7 to 8% of people who are manifestors, have a strategy to wait. And even some manifestors, if they're emotional, they need to wait for clarity. In that waiting space, there is a lot of room to get impatient, to judge yourself, and to compromise or lower your level of self-love. So as we move forward into some of the themes around the G Center, just remember that there's a lot of room here where the mind can take over and sort of torture you or try to drive, which will really impact you and on some level kind of wound you, so that you don't have the level of self-love that you need to have. Now, also what comes into play with lowering your level of self-love or with self-love struggles is conditioning. And as you're practicing your strategy and listening to your authority and really getting comfortable with what that is for you, you're going to become more and more aware of how you've been affected by conditioning, and then it will be easier for you to let that go over time. So in the G Center,
Sandy,
yes.
Sorry, can I just interrupt you for a while? I think that some of the participants are manifesting generators.
Mm-hmm.
So could you explain that briefly too?
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, manifesting generators are actually a subtype of the generators. So there's still the strategy to wait to respond, but your energy moves a lot faster. So there's a little bit of an element sometimes of impatience and anger. So when you are, first of all, you have to become aware of, the things that are coming to you to respond to. And sometimes you miss it and you don't know whether you are initiating or whether you're responding. And sometimes you move so fast that you step into things or skip steps, and you need to back out. Or you leave people behind and because you forgot to inform them. So it's a little bit of, you're like a little bit of a hybrid type of an energy type, but you do not have the strategy of initiating, and you do not have the initiating capacity of a manifester. You still need to wait to respond. It's just a little bit messier because your energy runs a lot faster. Is that clearer?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
thanks. Okay, so let's talk about these gates that come off of the G center. If you notice on your human design chart, you've got these lines that come off of the G center. And this is where I'm really going to start talking about the G center from a universal perspective. Because remember, everybody has all of this energy. You know, we're all humans. We all have the design of the human being. It's just that when certain aspects of your design are colored in, you experience those energies consistently, and when they're not colored in, you experience them in a inconsistent or a variable way. But you do have the capacity to experience all of these themes and energies, and to filter energy, and to function from those energies in the way that the human being is designed to do that. So think of these gates, these lines that come off of the G center, as the steering column for the driver. And embodied in the G center are the directions for your trajectory in life. So there's actually direction embodied in here in 4 of these gates. And then the other 4 of these gates, the ones in blue, are directional parts of your steering column. And the other 4 are the love parts of your steering column. So your driver is actually navigating or moving. Think of it as like a 4 or 5 dimensional road, instead of like 3 dimensions where it's kind of linear and you're in the car and moving forward. This is more like, you know, they not only have to take in the direction of the road moving forward, but this is about direction of the past, direction of the future, direction in the now through individual self-expression. And then there's this whole other component that maybe comes in from the side or up at the top and the bottom, I don't know, of love. So you're not just driving down one road and it's a straight path. There are actually lots of moving parts to this, to the human experience of finding your direction, your identity in life. So let's start with the ignition down here at the bottom. Oops. I'm trying to get this. I'm not sure what this is down here at the bottom, so bear with me. Can't get it off of here. Okay. I don't know if that's going to show up in the recording or not, but let's hope that it doesn't. The gate 2, and by the way, all of these numbers, if you're wondering what they are related to a hexagram in the I Ching. So the human design system is a synthesis of the Hindu chakra system, astrology, the I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life, and it's a representation of how we filter and take in energy from the cosmos, energy and information from the cosmos, and use it in our vehicle, in our body, and in our consciousness. So that's, if you're wondering what human design is, if this is like something you just fell into, that's the nutshell explanation of what human design is. So each of these gates represents a theme, an archetypal theme that human beings are wired to experience. So in the gate 2, this would be the second hexagram in the I Ching. In human design, it's known as the direction of self. It's also known as the receptive. The gate 2 is actually likened or can be compared to the ignition switch of your steering column. So and if we had the whole chart here, you would see that it connects to the gate 14 and it goes straight down into the sacral center, which is the center for life force energy and workforce energy and action. So it receives the receptive, the gate 2 receives the fuel from the sacral, and that's the fuel that allows us human beings to act on our individual expression. So this is kind of what starts the whole engine, okay? So that's our first direction. It is the driver. It is the literal driver of the whole G center, or of the vehicle, I guess, and the driver of our trajectory through life. Then we have direction from the past, the direction of our individual self-expression, direction from the past in the 13, direction of our individual self-expression in the gate 1, and direction of in the future in gate 7. So all of the blue is directional. And then along with that, and it's kind of funny that it's sort of like, I don't know, dispersed around the love gates are dispersed around the ignition switch. I don't quite know what that means. I'm just noticing that in the moment. So there are 4 themes of love that we're all wired to experience as human beings. There's universal love in the gate 25. There's the love of being embodied in the gate 46. There's the love of humanity in the gate 15. And there's the love of living as oneself in the gate 10. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the shadow aspects of these gates and how that may contribute to your own themes around self-love. So just take all of this in, try not to get too technical with it, but let things percolate up as we start to talk about some of the things that show up around self-love issues. Let what's pertinent to you sort of percolate up. But this is the overview of what we're looking at in terms of love and direction in your personal steering column of your magnetic monopole. Okay, so hold on just a second. The struggles with self-love. There's some common themes. And I don't expect you to be able to see this, so I'm just going to read it. I just put this in so that you could refer to it in your notes if you want to. This is the common misconception that's set up within us, the common theme that we all experience that's set up within us and that we're designed to feel. I'm going to just read it to you. This is from Linda Bunnell. She is the co-author of the definitive book of human design. She wrote it with the founder of human design, Ra Uru Hu. I think she finished it up posthumously when after he passed away in 2011. So this is something that she says about this theme of that we all experience. She says, during the process of coming into form as a human, the design crystal and the magnetic monopole enter the body together. Remember that image of the limousine with the queen in it. So the design crystal and the magnetic monopole enter the body together. Once in the body, they separate and they're not reunited until death. So the design crystal goes to the ajna and the magnetic monopole goes to the G. Because of this separation of the design crystal and the magnetic monopole, we are born with the feeling that something is missing and it gives us the feeling that we have to go out there into the world and find it. This feeling of something missing sets us on an illusory path to find what is missing, until we realize that we cannot find ourselves out there. It can be a very painful and empty search. So until we realize that we cannot find ourselves out there, it can be a very painful and empty search. The truth is that it has been in here the whole time. It has never left us. We're just under the illusion that something is missing. So we're all born under this illusion that something is missing, because our magnetic monopole is here, because we were once together. The design crystal and the magnetic monopole were one, and now they're separated. So it's the illusion of separation. And we're designed this way so that it sort of sets us up for this search for ourselves. And then we find ourselves at home inside. And then as a result of that, we grow and we evolve. So if you take nothing else from this, other than what I said before, remember that this is an illusion. If you're feeling like something is missing and you're having trouble, accepting yourself as who you are because there's always something missing, know that it's just this illusion that we set ourselves up for when we came into human form. And then ask yourself, what's the purpose of this? How am I growing and evolving in my journey to find myself back at home within myself? And that's kind of like a circular conundrum there. So take that to your meditation cushion. Okay, so one of the other...
Hi, Sandy. Yeah. There's a question in the chat from Samuel. He wants to know what does it mean when the G center is completely open with no gates defined? Can you describe?
Well, think of, let me go back. Okay. See, if you have a gate off of an undefined G center, it means that you have a predictable way of knowing how you're filtering and amplifying the energy that you're taking in. Remember, it's receptive, right? And when you take that energy that you interpret as love in, it feels really strong, and and you will operate off of the themes of the gates that you have defined. When it's totally open, there are no gates defined. So therefore, you will not necessarily grasp, you will probably always struggle with grasping a sense of your own purpose and direction and identity. But that's really okay, because what you're designed to do is to take in other people's identities and to experience them. You're designed to take in other people's directions and experience them. And even whether you're undefined or you're totally open, you have a real keen sense of the environments that are correct for you, that feel good to you, the people that feel good to you, because you're taking in, you have the capacity to take in all of it. So I hopefully that answered it as best as I can right now. Is that good? Okay, so
yes.
Okay. And I'm going to go into it a little more deeply here. So if you have a totally open G center, this theme of I'm not okay because I have the undefined G center, these themes will apply to you as well, whether you have the gates defined off of the G or you're totally open. So this is another theme that shows up in the struggle for self-love. And it's the I'm not okay theme. And it all kind of comes back to this feeling. Like if the queen felt okay, if she felt safe in the back seat, she wouldn't be as likely to backseat drive and try to micromanage her chauffeur, right? So the same holds true for us humans, you know, that if we feel okay, we're going to be okay within ourselves, then we're going to be less likely to want to have the mind jump in and control the direction of where we go and control how we bring love into our lives. So if you have an undefined G center, some of the themes that you may experience around this energy of I'm not okay, or this feeling of I'm not okay, is I'm not okay because I can't hold on to love. And you're not designed to hold on to love. You're designed to experience it when it fills you up, and to let it go when it's time for it to leave. And that can be really disconcerting if you're like in a love relationship and that person leaves the room even. Sometimes there's this whole thing where you want to hold on to it. You want it to last a little longer because you feel it even more deeply than the person who's giving it to you. So I'm not okay because I can't hold on to love. I'm not okay because I can't stick with one direction. You know, how many times open G people, undefined G people, have you had people express their frustration with you because you keep changing direction? And you're designed to change direction. You're designed to have multiple directions. You're designed to try on all kinds of identities. And that gets down to I'm not okay because I don't know who I am. You're really not designed to know who you are. You're designed to enjoy the process of and the wonder of I wonder what it's like to be this person. I wonder what it's like to feel like that person. So that's, and when you shut yourself down and you judge yourself because that feeling of love you just can't seem to keep it in your life, or you just can't seem to stay in one direction or to go in one direction, or you just can't seem to figure out who you are, then you're really kind of shutting down the essence of who you are, and you're not accepting the true potential of that undefined G center. So if you have a defined G center, you're going to experience this I'm not okay feeling in a different way. You're going to feel like you're not okay because I'm not okay because I don't feel safe being myself. This G center that's defined makes it so that you're radiating your identity out into the world. It's a very vulnerable position to be in sometimes, or it feels very vulnerable. So there's this sense of, is it safe to be me? Is it safe to show who I am, or do I need to hide myself? So I'm not okay because I don't feel safe being myself. I'm not okay because I don't feel accepted for who I am. And especially if you have these center gates which are very individual, the 1 and the 2, or the 10, or the 25, really. You're an individual by nature, that's who you are. And you're not really designed to fit in with other people's directions. You're designed to have your own direction. And then I'm not okay because my direction in life is different from everyone else's. And like I just said, you're designed to have your own direction, and it doesn't need to fit in with anyone else. Any questions? I'm looking at the time. So just take those in, undefined G people and defined G people, and see what bubbles up for you. I'm not okay because I can't hold on to love. I can't stick with one direction. I don't know who I am. I'm not okay because I don't feel safe being myself. I don't feel accepted for who I am. My direction in life is different from everyone else's. Now, here's some common behaviors in the struggle for self-love. So just let these bubble up and inform you, okay? So here's some general behaviors. If you have an undefined G center, you may find that you chase after love to get love from other people. And this is generally how the behaviors of an undefined G versus a defined G, but you may find, we're not looking at the whole chart. So if you have a defined G and something in the undefined G category resonates with you, just recognize that that's an aspect that you're experiencing, and it may have something to do with other aspects of your chart. So chasing after love from others, undefined G, hanging around with people or locations that aren't healthy for you. Remember that you feel that in your G center. You feel what it feels good to you in your G center. You feel what's healthy for you in your G center. So pay attention to that. If you have a defined G center, you may shut yourself down or try to hide your true self, or you may avoid criticism by compromising yourself. There's another one in here too, where you may compromise I think I have that in another slide, but as I'm thinking of it, you may compromise yourself, what's best for you in order to have love in your life. And then there's the general conditioning of the self-judgment around all of these themes and all of these experiences. So let's just look quickly at the shadow behaviors from the perspective of the gates. Remember, and when I'm talking about shadow behaviors, I'm talking about the lower frequency, gremlin, the hungry ghost that sort of feeds on your energy so that you feel bad about yourself. Those are shadow behaviors. So when you in the gate 2, the theme in the gate 2, or the shadow behavior in the gate 2, remember, it's the receptive. It's the ignition to receive the fuel that allows you to act as an individual. So when you're not receptive to the energy that supports the expression of who you truly are, you kind of shut down the flow of energy that allows you to really sit back and enjoy the direction that your life is taking you. You shut down. Actually, in this, you're also shutting down the ability to receive resources. There's not a lot of difference between love and money, because they're both energy. We just interpret them differently. So just remember that with the gate 2, you could be struggling with self-love because you're not being receptive to the energy of support, whether it's money, resources, or a support from other people, emotional support, whatever it is that would allow you to be who you truly are. And then there are the gates of love, the universal love, the love of being embodied, the love of humanity, and the love of living as oneself. So in the gate 25, the universal love, the shadow experience or behavior would be not trusting in the power of universal love, not trusting in the unseen forces of the universe, not trusting in your inner spirit, all of that unseen divine, the love that comes from the divine. So if you shut yourself down from that, it can hinder your ability to love yourself. In the gate 46, the love of being embodied, if you push your body too hard, you can shut yourself down. You can shut that ability to love yourself down. In the gate 15, the gate 15 is a gate of extremes. It's the love of humanity. So whenever you're not fully embracing the diversity of humanity, remember that we're really one organism as a human race. And when you don't accept a portion of humanity that's different from you, you're actually rejecting a portion of yourself. And then in the gate 10, if you're compromising what's best for you in order to get love and acceptance from others, you're obviously operating from a shadow behavior, from a behavior that doesn't allow you to fully love yourself. The gate 10 is known as the behavior of self. So it requires you to have, to operate and take on behaviors that are best for you as an individual. And in that way, you empower others to act in ways that are best for them as well. So there is the higher frequency of the G center. And this is where we get into the reset for coming into a higher experience of self-love. So first and foremost, remember to follow your strategy and listen to your decision-making authority. And this reduces the resistance and suffering in your life. It gets you on the path of living authentically as the best version of your true self, because you begin, as you do the experiment, as you follow your strategy and you start to listen to how your body tells you you're making a right decision, a good decision for you, you will just start to naturally align to who you really are. And it also helps you to understand, as you're aligning, you understand how unique and precious you really are. And when you understand that, then there's no way that you cannot love yourself. So also, embrace your direction. Be open to receiving support through the theme of the gate 2. Don't be afraid to be yourself. 2, 1, all of it, the whole thing. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Define G, undefined G, the whole thing. And stay in the present moment. Don't hold on to things from your past that no longer serve you, and don't project into the future things that haven't happened yet. Be in the present moment. And as Eckhart Tolle says, in The Power of Now, now is all we have. It's the only reality we have. And then finally, embrace love in all its forms. The universal love of trusting in spirit, the love of the physical experience by listening to and honoring your body, the love of humanity by embracing the diversity of who we all are, and the love of yourself by doing what's best for you first and foremost. So that leads us to the energy healing. And real quick, I just want to make sure that we don't have any questions. I'm going to just stop share. If I can get out. There we go. Okay. And we're going to talk about a little bit about energy healing and it allowing you to be receptive to support. So remember that gate 2 is about being receptive, and this is your opportunity through some of the healing that Beings is going to do. So, do you want to take over? Beings?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Are there any questions? If not, we'll continue with the healing portion. Okay, and I'd just like you to self-reflect for a while after listening to Sandy explain about love from a human design perspective. So what are the things that you feel triggered by? Okay, I'm just going to do a brief summary, and you can just type in whatever sentences that you feel very triggered. by in the presentation. So the first thing would be you are inherently loved because you exist. Does that trigger you? Okay. If yes, type in the chat, and you can briefly explain why you feel triggered. Yeah, thank you, Sandy. Okay. And I'm just going to move on. So I'm asking you a series of questions so that when you reflect back after the healing, you'll be able to feel whether there's any changes in the way, in how you respond to this statements you felt triggered by. Okay, and for people with undefined G who are open in the G center, okay, do you feel troubled that you can't hold on to love, that you can't stick in with one direction, that you don't know who you are? Okay, what triggers you most? Type in the chat. For people with defined G, do you feel safe being yourself? Do you feel accepted for being who you are? Okay, do you accept that your direction in life is different from everyone else? Okay, thank you, Samuel. Okay. And do you have problems following your strategy and authority? Actually, I have one question for Sandy. I noticed that a lot of the participants, they have the inner authority is emotional. Can you maybe briefly explain how they can do that?
In terms of self-love?
Yes.
So if you have an emotional authority and you get impatient with your emotions, the ups and downs of your emotions, or you are trying to make a decision too fast, you may beat yourself up because you made the wrong decision, or you weren't clear about your decision and you took action. So how would we put that?
Okay, so it would be feeling safe to take time to decide.
To take time
what's
to
best
get clear.
for yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of rushing to decide on the spot.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I see there's a lot of responses. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start with the healing. So actually, from the start of the presentation, I've already...
Can I just add one more thing? Like, if any of you are triggered by something else, can we add, if there's something else that other people are triggered by, can we add that, or do you just want to focus on direction?
Anything else that triggers you as you listen to the presentation?
Okay. Yeah, and then there's a response around feeling like a chameleon.
Mm-hmm. So, Hee Jong, are you undefined in your G center?
I think she is.
Okay. Okay, I see. Okay, so we are going to start with the healing. The whole area is blank. Okay, yeah, completely open. I see. Okay, so we're going to start with the healing. You can either have your eyes open or closed. Just listen to my words. And I'd like you to just be aware of the way you're breathing right now. Okay, and just like you to pay attention to how your body is reacting when you think about the trigger statement. Okay, if your mind is running around with images and memories and thoughts, just gently wriggle your fingers and toes. Just go back to your body. Feel any sensations that arise in your body. Sorry about the sound. Okay, thank yourself for having these sensations, this tension, for thank your body for letting you know that you have this response. And just wonder what it might be about, being in harmony with yourself. Feel the sensations that come as you think about harmony. And just briefly visualize the center. Briefly visualize your G center, the diamond shape in your body graph. Imagine holding it in between your palms, gently with love. Just set the intention to realign the energies there. Okay, complete with the 8 gates, 4 gates of direction, and the 4 gates of love. Feel the light shining through this diamond. This diamond that has been with you since birth. And now let's focus on each of the 8 gates. So gate 1, your personal direction in life. Okay, and gate 2, receiving all the support that you need to ignite for the ignition for your car. Gate 13, healing the past, where you've come from, holding all your memories with love. Releasing the pain, trauma, feeling gratitude for the lessons learned or the relationships you've had. And gate 7, moving forward in your future, feeling a sense of wonder, excitement. And if you're feeling worried about the future, just pay attention to how your body is reacting. Okay, feel where the tension is and let us gently unfold that first. And wonder what it might be about, feeling excited for your future. Feeling the endless possibilities that will continue to bring you even more joy and wonder, to help you feel a deeper sense of purpose in your life. Feel yourself smiling in anticipation for the future. And let us move on to the 4 gates of love. Going on to gate 25, love of spirit, universal love. You just feel your relationship in spirit, and trusting the source. Be aware if there's any tension. Hold the tension gently and allow it to unfold. Feel yourself, feel a trust in spirit. Wonder what it might be about. Having a full trust in source, in spirit, or whichever term that you call it. Moving on to gate 15, love of humanity. Feel how you feel about the diversity of humanity. How we are all each unique in our gifts. If there's any trust, distrust, disappointment in humanity, just pay attention to how it's affecting you. Thank yourself, thank your body for letting you know that you're having this response, this resistance to loving. Allow it to shift, to soften yourself, soften your body. And wonder what it feels like having full love for humanity as it is now. And feel what your body is telling you through sensations, thoughts. And also acknowledging your own huge aura, your huge light radiating outwards, benefiting humanity. Moving on to the gate of love of the body, how you're embodying life. It's gate 46. Okay, if you have any physical health issues, Just think what you feel about them. Be honest to yourself about your feelings of your physical health. And feel yourself sending love to every cell in your body, in your physical body. This is the vehicle you are using to live your life here. Wonder how your body would feel if every cell is soaked with love, unconditional love and gratitude. Just thank your body and move on to the love of self. Gate 10. Feel how you feel about loving yourself. Feel your resistance to loving yourself. And imagine that you have a magic finger, and whatever you touch is going to have a magical transformation. It's going to reset and be realigned with the highest frequency of love. So I'd like you to use your magic finger and gently touch this gate 10, the gate of self-love. Just sit there and observe how it transforms. Okay, use your magic finger and touch the other gates again. Touching gate 46, love of your body. Gate 15, love of humanity. Gate 25, universal love, love of spirit. And gate 7, your future. Gate 13, your past. Gate 2, receiving all the support that you need, all the resources that you need. And gate 1, your personal direction, your creative direction, your life purpose. And feel how your whole diamond is transforming and realigning and resetting to the highest frequencies of love. And you can feel it so tangibly Your whole body is vibrating with the highest frequency of love. Thank yourself. Thank the group. And wonder what it might be about feeling like this, feeling this high frequency of love every single day of your life. You can ask yourself, your higher self, for a physical reminder. So it could be an image that comes to mind, or a thought, a sentence, or it could be like a physical sensation. Your spirit guide gently tapping on your shoulders, or the sensations that may come now. And when you're ready, I'd like you to just gently wiggle your fingers and toes. Feel how you're being seated where you are. And slowly come back to the room. Gently open your eyes and show me your biggest smile. Thank
That
you.
was great. Thank you.
So it's 11, just nice.
Yeah, I want to just make, that was perfect. Thank you. I just want to make a point for those who are not here live, and for those of you who are here, you'll get a recording. That was such a thorough healing process that you can go through that at any time, and something new or different may come up, especially as you go through and you review some of the themes around self-love and the gates and the undefined G and the defined G. As you shift and heal and realign, other triggers may come up. Does that usually,
Yes.
usually how it works with your work? Yeah. So, this is not just a one-time thing. You can kind of use it along your journey. And even if you're not here live, the energy is sort of embedded in the experience. And as you were working, I was just holding the energy for the entire group of people who are here with us, and those who will get it at a later time. So any suggestions for aftercare beings for this?
Just be gentle with yourself. Treat yourself like your own best friend. You can journal or sing, and do go back to what you typed in the chat about your trigger statements, and just feel how you feel right now with respect to that. Okay, if you feel the healing, then congratulate yourself, and yeah, you will move on to different areas that might trigger you as the time passes on. So it's like peeling off the layers of your onion. Yeah. So you can listen to this time after time. Yeah, and I'm so glad to do this. Makes my heart bloom. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And also plenty of water, right? That's always
yes.
Water, rest, be gentle with yourself, all of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to open up, unmute everybody for any, do you have a few minutes so we can just have last minute questions or goodbyes or whatever it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll unmute everyone. Okay. You're unmuted. If you have a question or comment or anything, last minute thing you need to have clear before we end, this is your time. Did you put everybody out into La La Land? That's fine. You don't have to have anything at all. Just this is, you really did put us into an internal place. So that was good. Thank you. Well, I want to thank all of you for being here and for contributing your energy to the group. Without you, we couldn't do what we do. And without you, the other people who are here with us or who will join us later in the ethers would not have the scaffolding of your energetic support. So thank you. And thank you, whether you're here now or you're here later, for your presence on this call and in this group. So that's it for me. It's about 10 o'clock here. It's time for bed for me. So I think I'm going to call it a night. Are you, you have to get going too, Bings, right? So
yes, and thank you, Sandy, for your guidance, for your wisdom.